Hello sim racers and welcome to Friday livestream. Tonight we are going to be doing some Misano circuit walk. I know you guys love how I pronounce the circuit stuff, but yeah, so Misano tonight. I'm pretty sure that CC Driver will be very happy because he's been asking for this walk for a long time, so here we are. Let me apologize for not being able to do the happy hour. The sound is strange, CC says. Let me know if you cannot hear me very well, otherwise we will try to fix it. So yeah, as I was saying, sorry for not being able to do the happy hour during the week. I was in a business trip in the middle of the week, then lots of work back and forth, so I wasn't able to do the happy hour this week. We will do it next week, and maybe we can possibly do two of them instead of one. Alright, so hello everybody in the chat, already so many people. Let me also I really like to thank all of you guys that you are keep on subscribing on the channel. You are arriving lots and lots of people, new people subscribing on the channel, and it's amazing. I mean, the Discord server is at over 6,500 people right now. The channel has grown to almost 28,000 people, subscribers, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be way over 30,000 by the end of this year, so that is fantastic and amazing. Thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me, and possibly and hopefully I also give you something back and you enjoy whatever we are doing every week here on the channel. Right, so what are we doing? Let's go in game. Right, let's go in game and start to load the Misano circuit. We're gonna try with the Mercedes tonight, but most importantly, we're gonna do some walk through the circuit, find out the reference points and all that stuff. That's a Sandero. Yeah, absolutely. We're working with it. No, it was mainly business to business support. So. No big deal, unfortunately, for you guys, but big deal for Kunos as usual. And as usual, you know, we always work for you guys, so don't worry about it. Good things come to those that are patient. Right, so, well, and truth to be told, you have probably already, seen that we just released the 2021 libraries for free for Assetto Corsa Competizione. We also keep on doing small updates of content updates for Assetto Corsa 1, depending on what our licensors asking for us, because they really want to support their projects. So sound is very thin, high, with high reverb. Are you all guys having the same problem? Or is it something the configuration of CC Driver? Let me have a listen to what is going on. Or is it something the configuration of CC Driver? I just heard the sound CC Driver on the other computer from the live stream, and it seems normal to me. So maybe something is wrong in your configuration tonight. A very cheap headset, yeah. Something's wrong with the sound. Okay, let's try to fix that for a moment. A bit of clipping from the voice. Okay, if you guys can give me a second, I can try and see if I can fix this. And see what we can do. So, pop. Where are the sounds? Here they are. Mixer. Maybe. No, that's not it. And audio inputs. All right. Properties. Nope. Give me a second, guys. I will try to fix this. So hopefully you can hear me better. It seems the usual stuff. Where is it? It doesn't seem to have any. So filters, ratio throws. That seems to be okay. Compressor. All right. Is it also very high as volume? Maybe I can lower it a little bit. Is it any better now? Well, let's put this to 5 maybe. 5. Let me know if it's any better. It is too sensitive, you say. Alright, let's check also like that. Any better like now? Too low. Too low. Alright. Let's try it a bit differently. Where is this? Much too low. Alright. Now it should be a little bit higher, but maybe not enough. Filters. Alright, so let's go up to 8 here. Oop. Okay, so maybe now it's a little bit higher. Too high, too low, too low, too high. Possibly I can disable a boost, maybe. Alright. Well, you asked to improve it, so this is what I'm trying to do. Alright, so microphone here, let's see. Levels. So we have some pre-amplification. Let's see if I can lower this. And let me know if this is better now. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What color settings? I will show you in a minute. I will show you in a minute. Let me know if you prefer it without the boost. Okay, so that seems better in terms of quality. Volume could be higher. We can fix that. So let me see here. Something like 10. Let me see how is it now. Is it now better? And can you hear a better, so better volume and better quality? I think we might have found why it was doing that stuff. Still quality, still volume is low. If volume is low, I can still raise it a little bit. Let's go up to 6. How is it now? Okay, 10 was good, so let's go back to minus 8.6. Alright, alright. Okay, maybe we made it. Wow, professional YouTuber here. Yeah, alright. Okay. I have to talk, yes, of course I have to talk. Alright, so let me know, otherwise we can go up to 0.7 here, 0.8 maybe. Yeah, something like that. I think that would be perfect. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's good. Alright. So also Tortellini asked me about my graphics options. I have sold them many times, but let's go for another one. So these are my graphic options. I believe you can see them now. This is how I have you know, made everything. I believe you are doing the same things more or less here. Blah 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 blah. What I have changed in the colors is down here. Okay, so I'm using no sharpness at all. I find it that it blurs out or it makes shadows, so I don't like it. So sharpness is 0. The image contrast is 0.65. The exposure gain is 0.50, and the tone mapping is default. So this is what I'm using. Hopefully you can put similar values and enjoy the game even more. Right, so back. Okay, so let's start with our Misano Adriatico circuit walk. Hey Tiago, man, thank you so much for the beer. I only have water right now, but beer is on you. Thank you so much for the support, mate. Cheers. Mikal, if I find the wheel and you know, time to do one, I will certainly do it. Alright, so just let's go with the aggressive setup, although we won't be driving really right now. Do a lap and start our circuit walk. Long pit lane here at Misano. You have to be patient, and let's go out now. Misano is a relatively slow track. It has lots of hairpins, but it is really a very technical track. It's very technical. It has lots of straights, racing lines that you need to get. You have to go and abuse a lot the track limits and the curbs as well. And you can see also, by the way, this weekend GT3, GT World, they are racing at Misano, so it's a great opportunity to learn the track better and also, you know, enjoy the race better, because we sim racers always enjoy the real races much better than, you know, normal spectators, because we know a lot more about the cars and the tracks. Cold tires and everything. Okay, so Misano, in the middle of Italy, more or less, towards the Adriatic Sea, so in the eastern side of Italy, and this is the start-finish line. Pretty difficult, the start-finish line, for the guys that have qualified at the end of the grid, because you will find yourself on the last turn for the start, so make sure to be very on the correct side of the road, depending on where you're starting, left or right. So full throttle and go as soon as you can on the left side of the road. Now, once you are under this bridge, you should start to place your car as wide on the left as possible. Now, faster drivers even go on the red tarmac here over the curb. You can do that. So place your car here. Make sure to do it before the braking zone. And the braking zone here is actually, let me activate for a moment the cursor, because otherwise you won't be able to see it. So let's activate the cursor here. Here it is. Okay, and let's go to not sure if you can see it already. Let me check. Otherwise we will need to change the OBS Streamlabs configuration. So it seems that you cannot see it yet. Give me just a second, guys. Tonight it's a little bit, you know, like this. Let me check if everything is correct, but you cannot see myself. Wonderful. Right? Almost there, almost there. Yeah, okay, we have everything. Right, okay, excellent. We've made it tonight as well. So, as I said, you should position your car with your left wheels on the red tarmac here, and your right wheels, of course, on the asphalt. Try to not stay with your left wheels on the curb. The curb has some slight steps, and it will make the ABS trigger, and it will make your braking zone longer. You should start braking just before the 50 meters, as usually the 50 meters billboard can and will be thrown down and destroyed by other drivers. So in that case, luckily we have a great reference point, and it is this white line at the 50 meters. So start braking before these 50 meters initially, and then as you get better and better and better with your driving setup, car handling and everything, you could brake actually just while you are almost on top of the white line here. Okay, so this is your actual braking reference point for T1. As soon as you brake, really hard braking from fourth gear down to third gear, or fifth gear down to third gear, you should start turning in like this. You will need a little bit extra steering input at first, because while you are staying with your outside wheels on the red tarmac, you need to I have to remind you that the red tarmac has a little bit less grip than the actual asphalt. So you need to give a little bit extra steering wheel to start the turning, and then go back to using less steering wheel and release the brakes as you're going inside the turn. So release the brakes. What you really need to do is go over here and go over those sausages with your right hand tires. You can't go over those sausages, but you really need to be careful to have completely released the brakes so that the car is not pitched forward. So release the brakes totally and go over the sausages. The bumps will make your car rotate even more. So without any brakes over here, you can bring a lot of speed inside the turn and still be able to rotate the car. And ideally, you want to find yourself somewhere in the middle of the road. As you can see on the asphalt, let me show you closer. You can see a line separating two pieces of asphalt over here. So this is this part over here. You can see this. Okay. Now, obviously, during the night it's difficult to see that, but at least you can practice. And what you want to do is having your right wheels over that line. So you need to stay at the left of this line. Don't go too much to the left, because otherwise it will be very difficult to go to the T2. You want your car to be somewhere around here. Okay, once you have exited the T1, okay, and your car is looking straight like this, heavy on the brakes again. Heavy on the brakes again, second gear, and inside the T2 like that. Again, just touch the sausages over here. It will help you rotate the car. Do not over-rotate the car over the sausages. Now, ideally, you really want to get the first sausage, all right? So you want to get the first sausage over here. Okay, go over that, and possibly just touch the second sausage over here. Do not go too much over that. Why is that? Because by the second sausage, you really want to go on the accelerator as hard as you can, start accelerating. The car will be already rotating. You can see the curb is stepped, so there is a lot of things happening to the wheels, and the traction control will start to engage. If you go over this sausage, it will jump, it will make the car jump, and it will engage even more. So possibly put your left tires just here in this part of the sausage. This is the ideal way. In that way, you can really accelerate as hard as you can. And now, obviously, by accelerating, you will start to go wide at the exit of T1. It really depends what car you have to choose a different line. You can choose two different lines here on the exit of T2. All right. So you can choose two different lines depending on the car. If your car has a very good front end, possibly it has a little bit more weight at the front, so it's a front engine car, which means that even when you are accelerating, the front end has a little bit of weight, and you can rotate the car on the rear wheels that they are a little bit spinning because they don't have as much weight. Then you can exaggerate a little bit with the exit of T2 and end up a little bit wide like this, okay? Because even if you are ending up a little bit wide like this, you will be able to do the next turn without sliding straight in understeer. Okay. If your car instead has a lot of weight at the rear of the car, like a Porsche or a Lamborghini or an Audi, you don't want to get as wide at the exit of the T2. Possibly you need to stay a little bit somewhere around here, okay, so that you can get a better line without the need to rotate the car as well as much. Go over the curb and into the red over here, but you know, you can use less steering wheel. Why is that? Because with those cars you're gonna have so much traction that obviously you're gonna raise the front end, and even if you ask for more steering, the only thing you're gonna get is power understeer. So you're gonna ask steering, you're gonna ask grip from the front tires, but you have so much traction, you are in third gear over here, so you're gonna just raise the front end and go wide. And you don't want to go wide and be first to release the accelerator and lose time. So for those cars, stay a little bit on the middle of the road and then cut even in a more straight line, racing line, this T3 turn. For cars with more weight at the front, you can go wide, and then you can rotate the car on the accelerator a little bit more without big issues. As we said, this turn here is really strange, because at first it seems that you have all the grip to rotate the car without issues, but as you can see, as you move forward over here, the road goes a little bit down, and the camber changes of the road, and exactly at that point where those two curbs meet, just before those two curbs meet, look at this, you see, this is the side road and the other curb, and they meet with the main one. This is the place where actually the understeer starts, because laser scan, the actual road changes camber and changes a little bit, it goes into a dip like this. So you are arriving with a lot of speed, high third gear, and at that point you just starting having understeer, and it is really very bad. Why it's very bad? Because right at the maximum acceleration you're gonna get more and more understeer, and you're gonna end up here. And if you go really wide, you're gonna get a penalty for cutting road. So the only possibility you have is either raise your foot before going wide, or when you will go wide, raise your foot again to not get the penalty. And obviously both of those solutions, they are going to make you waste a lot of time. So ideally you want to have your car rotated properly and arrive into this situation with already all the turn finished, so that you can stay on the road and not get any penalty at all. Now, So once you have arrived over here, do not stay on the red tarmac. As soon as possible, get off it and get your car into the asphalt, the main track again. Also, do not stay on the curb because, as we said before, curbs all over, even the lowest curbs on Misano, they are still stepped, and a stepped curb like that means that your tires are gonna end up over the curb and they will start to bounce, and that means the ABS will engage and your braking distances will get longer and longer. So do not go over the curb, stay on the asphalt. At the end of the side asphalt, when the grass starts over here, you can start your braking zone. Now, this braking zone, again, it's difficult. You're arriving fast, 4th gear, and you really have to slow down to 1st gear. This T4 is really tight. Even if it seems that there is lots of camber, it's still a very tight 90 degrees turn. Let's have a look from high up, like that. You see, really tight turn, even more than 90 degrees. And it's really difficult to slow the car down. Not only that, but many times I've seen many people, stepping on the brakes as hard as they can. They arrive at the turning, they turn over here, and they feel the car going wide in understeer, right? And they arrive somewhere like this. Sorry, they arrive somewhere like this with brakes full 100%, keep on braking, which means, once again, I remind you, tires can only do one thing at a time, or almost one thing at a time, which means that if you are asking for 100% braking force, so 100% longitudinal grip, you're gonna get very low lateral grip, which means that you keep on braking as much as you can, and steering, the car will go straight. All right? So what you really need to do, even if you feel that you are getting some understeer, release the brakes as much as you can, and you will notice that the more you release the brakes, the more lateral grip you get, and the more the car will manage to go inside the turn. And you really need to cut this turn as much as possible. Once again, be careful, don't get a penalty, so you need to have your left tires on the curb, all right? But you can't cut it as much as possible and have your right tires on the red tarmac, possibly at the edge of the grass over here, okay? So, cut this turn a lot. Now, watch out. As you go out from T4, let me get this low, you see there is so much camber here that it will keep your car inside, okay, on the apex of the turn. But as you get out, you still have lots of camber inside, but once you get outside on the curb, look at this, there is practically no camber. Actually, once you go over the curb, the camber goes on the other side and becomes positive, and that means that you lose all the lateral grip that it was keeping you on the racing line up until that point. Most of us are doing the error, myself included, to get out of that turn very fast, and we end up on the outside of this curb, on the red one. You can do this, but once again, I remind you, there is less grip over here because the camber goes outside. Best drivers, they manage to keep the car right on the limit, almost touching the curb, but still inside where there's still some good camber towards the inner side of the turn. So what they do is they manage to rotate the car properly, go on the accelerator, but still remain here. They do less meters, they have the car still on the grip, and they don't go as wide. So, what is happening here, guys? Let me finish the circuit walk. We can talk after the circuit walk for other things, or maybe during the break. But if you just arrive with the chat and instantly hit me with questions that have nothing to do, obviously I will be first to ignore you, and it's not nice, right? So, T5, release the accelerator a little bit to aid the car to rotate, and then go again on the accelerator. Don't overdo it. You need to cut through this. You will see that there are bumps, there are steps on the curb over here. You are going to arrive here in second gear. There is a lot of torque on those cars, and it's pretty much certain that you will end up exiting this turn in oversteer. You don't want to have a lot of oversteer because it will unsettle the car, you will lose acceleration, and most importantly, you will end up exiting this turn in oversteer, and you will instantly have to go through the other side, which means, you know, rotating the car from one side and then over-rotating to the other. It's very easy to end up into a slap, you know, and lose control of the car, or have a very big over-rotation and wide oversteer to the other side while you will be trying to go to T5 here to the left. So try to maintain control of the car, try to be gentle over here, and go inside for T5. Now, this is very tricky here. Ideally, you want to go through that almost flat out, or at most just raise your foot just for a minute over the curb over here. Now, there are many problems with this curb, and it really depends on what car you're driving, how your car is set up, how your car tolerates hitting the ground, and so on. Why I'm saying this? As you can see, what we want to do here is go over the curb, possibly even on a little bit on the red tarmac over here. You are going to be here in third gear, almost flat out or completely flat out, and depending how much you have, you know, cut the curb, you might end up touching with your diffuser the curb over here. Keep in mind, you're arriving again on third gear. There is enough downforce to push your car down. There is a roll of the car. The car might have already jumped over the curb, so it bounces up and down. So many things are happening here. So I would advise you to not go over there on the red tarmac, but try to be precise and keep a little bit of your tires over the curb so that you do not touch with the under tray of the car this very nasty curb. So be careful. Do some practice on that. See which one is the best line for you to take. Now, if you remember, I told you before to be extremely smooth with the car exiting T5 and entering T6 here. Why is that? Because if you are not smooth, you won't be able to be precise to go exactly where you want over this curb. It will just not be possible because the car will move around and over-rotate. So be very careful. The smoother you are on this transition from right to left, the more precise you will be over here. And it is really very important to try to go flat out over this turn, and also extremely important to keep it tidy on the exit and not go over those sausages. If you go over the sausages, the car will jump. Some cars might even, you know, hit the front splitter and jump into the air. Those sausages are really higher than what they look, like this. And this curb is also high, so you really want to end up ideally somewhere around here, okay? But really you don't want to go over those sausages. They're really dangerous, and you can lose a lot of time. And unfortunately, if you don't do the T6 properly, this one over here, and you try to keep on over this turn, if you try to keep on flat out over this turn and you don't do it properly and very precisely on your racing line, you will mathematically end up very wide on the exit, and that will make you go over the sausages and lose a lot of time. You're really losing a lot of time, so be very careful. Right, so let's move on. You can see already how the car jumps around here. Now, mentally, many of us are like, okay, I should cut this straight line. This is something like a bend here. It's obviously flat out. It's not a proper turn. I should cut this and go straight like this. And mentally, you want to try and hit the apex over that left curb. Don't do that. You are doing more meters than you need. Try to go into the middle of the road, like this. Do not really go to the complete left of the road. Stay somewhere here in the middle, and that will make you do less road than normally. Okay, now we arrive on another one of the most important and difficult braking zones of the circuit. Again, this is one of the places that you can try to overtake. People will try to defend. You can also defend, but overtaking here is also possible in the external. Changing lines is also possible. So lots of overtaking opportunities, as well as accident opportunities. So be careful. Where's the braking zone? 150. The curb starts here. We have the first white line. As usual, don't get as reference points just the billboards, because they will get destroyed during the race. So first white line here, we don't care about that. Full throttle, we keep on going. Don't go, some people like to go over the green tarmac. Don't go over there, it's too slippery, you don't gain anything. Stay on the asphalt, that's my advice. And second white line over here. Second white line, this is your reference point. With some cars, in some conditions, you can even start braking a little bit later. So second white line is your reference point. Start braking as straight as possible. Don't get into the it's easy to start going into the turn. Don't do that. Straight line braking, straight line braking, straight line braking. Just before the last white line, start going towards the turn. Now, as you can see, again, we have lots of camber going inside the turn, so it does pay to go somewhere around here, while still braking a lot, like almost 100%, while you are arriving here before going over the curb, because you will need to cut again. This is where you need to release the brakes. Okay, release the brakes as much as you can and start modulating, completely release the brakes here, a little bit of or maybe nothing of coasting. On the accelerator, you need to really be inside the turn like this on the accelerator, and the car will rotate. Now, once again, this is typical for Misano. If you go very hard on the accelerator, you're either going to have the traction control engaging really hard, or the car will over-rotate, and it will make you lose time. So while the car rotates and you are on the accelerator, ideally you want to keep your foot down 100% on the accelerator and try to keep the traction of the rear wheels as good as possible. So when you feel that the car starts over-rotating, small oversteer, countersteer input, back again, very hard, very fast into the turn. So turning, a little bit of over-rotation, this one, and again, and again. Keep those rear tires working, keep those rear tires into traction, right? Don't let the car, don't stay like this, the car over-rotates and you still like this, and let the traction control do its work. You don't want that. When the traction control hits in, you're losing time. So, like this, over-rotation. So work with the car, make the car stay on the line that you want, and make the rear tires keep the traction, all right? Obviously, by doing all of that, you're gonna end up wide here. That's no big deal. Don't stay over the curb because you can see so many bumps, so you are going to lose traction to move forward. So either just go a little bit wider, I do not advise this, or stay on the road. Once you've done with that, completely to the left, and here we arrive at another place where we have another either overtake opportunity or prepare the overtake for later. Now, when to start braking from here, how to do the line, it's pretty difficult here. There are a couple of different situations depending on what car you have, if you are defending, if you are attacking, how you drive, all that stuff. So here's the situation. Ideally, you want, when this curb starts, the stepped one, so after the white line, when it starts, or even right on the apex, you want to start braking. And you have two possibilities. Now, obviously, you want to do this in a straight line like this, so you start braking over here, okay? And you have two possibilities. You either go wide a little bit, especially if your car does not rotate so well. So if you have the BMW or if you have the Bentley, for example, so long cars that do not really rotate as well, it's probably better to go straight like this, arrive somewhere here, okay? Don't go too wide, just, stay with the middle of the car somewhere in the line of the asphalt over here, and then start cutting into the turn like that. That will permit you to do a longer and bigger radius racing line, and it will give you also a very good exit traction at the exit, okay? Or if you have a car that rotates very well, like, I don't know, the Porsche, the Lamborghini, I don't know, the Audi, those kind of cars, then a different thing you can do, oops, sorry about that, yeah, I completely messed up with the mouse. Let me switch off the mouse sharing on the two monitors, okay? So as I was saying, if you have a car that rotates better, then you could do the following. You can stay a little bit closer, okay, like this. Do less meters, brake more in a straight line somehow, and then rotate the car faster and get out again in full traction. So, that's depending on your car, but in any case, it also depends if you are under attack or if you are, attacking. So if you're under attack and you want to defend, it pays obviously to stay on the inside here, all right? Because if you let the inside open, someone is going to dive bomb you. So better, stay a little bit on the inside if you have someone following very closely, and let them go from the outside. Now, if you are attacking, you can go on the outside and gain more speed going through this corner so that you can get closer at the exit on the car in front of you, get the slipstream and possibly overtake. If you are the defending car, again, what you can do is, as we said, you stay on the inside, and while you are at the apex of this turn, do not try to do it very fast. Take it easier. The car behind you can do nothing more than raise the foot and wait. You can take easier the apex, rotate the car properly, and then accelerate whenever you want and get out with the best speed, which means that the car behind you will be forced to raise the foot, wait, and then accelerate after you once you have also decided to accelerate, which means that it might give you a little bit of space to breathe, and you might not be victim of the slipstream of the other guy behind you that is approaching very fast. Alright, so let's see this, how we're gonna do it. So, as I said, you can stay a little bit closer with a car that rotates better like the Mercedes. Again, go over the curb and inside the red, go on the accelerator as fast as you can, rotate the car on the power, work with the steering wheel to keep the traction, and here you go on the exit. You can go as wide as you want and get back again. Long straight, no problems. This is flat out, just make sure to hit the curb properly. So don't do... Now, this is flat out indeed, but don't do stupid things like, oh, I missed the turn, the apex, I need to turn more. Why you shouldn't do that? Because here you are already like in 4th or 5th gear, the speed is already very high. If you do this, you are scrubbing a lot of your tires and, you know, consuming them, but most importantly, you are provoking an understeer going over the peak of the tires, which means that while you are arriving over here and possibly made the turn, okay, you're probably like that still, because you were understeering, and you see that, okay, I can do the turn, you go back to the straight, and at some point around here the tires give the maximum peak, and maybe you have your tires over the curb and something strange happen, especially if it's raining, and you might get a lot of snap oversteer exactly at the worst possible moment at very high speed. So be very careful of that. This is a very easy turn to make flat out even during the rain, but you really have to be precise. Don't do stupid things. Make the perfect racing line, otherwise you might really regret it. All right? Cool. So let's go on. And 6th gear or 5th gear depending on the car. Again, flat out. Now this is very important. This is a very important turn. You're gonna go inside here flat out. Okay, maybe not only when it rains, but in dry conditions or, you know, light drizzle, always flat out. So always flat out over here. This is the apex with the white line. You want to hit that, but I don't think it is advisable to go over that curb and into the red tarmac, because there's a lot of speed. You want your car to be well balanced. You want to have as low steering input as possible. So I would just, you know, keep it on the asphalt, on the tarmac. There's no need to go over there. Keep it like this, and then as you exit, this is again your reference point. Maybe it's better to start braking a little bit sooner at first, but whatever you do, make sure to brake in as much a straight line as possible. If you see right here, the straight line will get you out of the track, but you still have time, so don't be very afraid. Start braking really hard in a straight line, or just as little steering input as possible. Don't overdo it. Just stay with steering input as little as possible. All right? Brake hard. Go down to 3rd gear. Some cars may be 4th gear. Okay. You see this white line over here. Now, check this white line and instantly point your eyes on the apex of the next turn. It is extremely important to do this properly. So, strong braking. You go past this and instantly pointing over here and start cutting. While braking, you will notice that the car starts to over-rotate because there is a ton of speed here and there is a ton of downforce, okay? And pitching the car like this with all this downforce, it will move the downforce way to the front and the car will start rotating. Now, two things happen here. Either the car over-rotates, people go crazy, oversteer and go straight to the sun trap, or they are afraid they are coming in way too hot, way too fast, and they keep on braking as hard as they can, and so the car goes understeer through all the turn here, and when they go over the apex, they release the brakes, the car gets grip from the front, and again goes spinning because instantly it has lateral grip. What to do? While you have already passed the white line over here, release the brakes, and by releasing the brakes right after, so while you're here and you are already pointing in the turn and you feel the over rotation happening, completely release the brakes. I'm not saying that by, you know, now stay on the brakes a little bit. Release the brakes, no braking at all, completely coasting. Okay, so don't touch the accelerator, don't touch the brakes, nothing. Go coasting. If you see that the car just over rotates a little bit, maybe touch a little bit the accelerator, but I wouldn't touch anything at all, okay? just go and cut as much as you can over here. You will see that by releasing the brakes, instantly the car stabilizes itself. It's magic. It's the aerosensitivity, because what you're doing is, by releasing the brakes, the nose goes up and the downforce instantly goes to the rear, and that stabilizes the car, and your car should be stabilized, should be very nice and stable on coasting on normal ride heights. So completely release the brakes, the car will stabilize itself, and you will find a lot of both lateral grip and stability. And I guarantee you, you will go over that curb and the apex of this turn in lightning speed and still have all the grip possible to get out. I will tell you that when you're out of this apex, you will be even able to go full throttle, stabilize the car on the accelerator, full throttle in third gear like that, over the curb over here, okay? And once you are over that, over that white line, okay, put your steering wheel straight and brake hard down to first gear for this hairpin. This is how you do it. We will do that a couple of times while driving, and you will see what I mean by that. Okay, so hard on the brake here, downshifting down to first gear, go inside once again, okay, cut through it, exit first gear, which means lots of torque, lots of traction control intervention if you don't do it right. So first gear, car starts to rotate, start playing with the steering wheel, start trying to get traction on the rear tires. Don't let the traction control do all that work alone. So as soon as you're out of the turn, go instantly to the right side. You don't have much time, so right side over here, and again transition from the right to the left. Do it smoothly, don't be very aggressive. You don't want to be over rotated, because if you do so, you won't have the precision you need. And the precision again is very important here, because you really want to go over this turn, okay, with possibly touching the sausages with your left tires, or even going over the sausages. Now, that's very important, how to go over those sausages with your left tires. It's very easy here to go in understeer and go wide. Okay, so at some point you really want to raise your foot from the accelerator, and possibly you don't want, oops, sorry about that, possibly you don't want to do that after the apex. You want to do that a little bit before the apex. So just before the apex here, maybe raise your foot a little bit, the car will go down with the front and will rotate. Then before attacking the sausages, you really want to go hard on the accelerator, because this is the only way to raise the front end again, and that means that you will be able to go over those sausages without destroying your splitter, because as you can see, if you go over the sausages normally, the splitter touches. They are that high. So only by staying on the accelerator with a lot of, lateral grip that also makes the car roll to the outside, so it raises a little bit the inner side, this is the only way to do it. And just to give you an idea, Raffaele Marcello, one of the best GT3 drivers ever, in 2018, Poleman, amazing lap times on Misano. He could do everything he wanted into this track with this car. He hit that sausage, and he hit it badly by, releasing the accelerator, and he took all the heat. He hit with the splitter, and then the tire hit the wheel arch and completely destroyed all the aerodynamics, the wheel arch and Kevlar of the car. It completely destroyed the car in the race, I believe, and he lost the race because of that. So unfortunately, we don't have this kind of damage in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but it will upset your car a lot. So you don't want that to happen. In order to do this, release the accelerator just a little bit before the apex, and before hitting the brakes, hard on the accelerator, so that the front end of the car raises up and you can go over them without issues again. And obviously having the car rotated, it will permit you to end up wide here, but still able to re-enter before the grass starts, before the asphalt ends and the grass starts, because obviously we don't want to go over the grass. Very good. Now, once you have done this, you either have to go straight or go into the pit lane. If you want to go into the pit lane, you go into the side asphalt here, and just after a while, at the end of the guardrail, you have to go hard on the brakes to slow down to enter the pit lane, because there is a turn. Or if you go straight like this, at the 50 meters or at the start of the outside curb, because if you saw before here, this is where the curb starts, the outside curb starts. So right at the start, okay, even a little bit later maybe, you start braking hard down to second or third gear depending on the car and the gear ratios, and cut really well. Once more, there is less grip at the turn in, so you will, it seems to you that your speed is too high and you need to give more steering input, but as you go inside the apex of the turn, there is a lot of camber, so as soon as you are approaching the curb, again, release the brakes, let the car rotate, you will find lots of lateral grip, go over the curb like this, the car will jump over the sausages here, no big deal, you can cut, alright? And then you can really make full acceleration at this turn and end up wide. Once more, it is very important to not go very wide, because if you end up on the sausages at the outside, at the right side of the road, the car will jump around a lot. You will lose tons of time, and obviously you don't want this to happen, both because there is a long straight, and if someone is behind you, they will overtake you. This straight is a great overtaking opportunity at the end of the straight line. There is the T1, really cool overtaking opportunity. So stay over here, don't go over the sausages, you really will regret it. Okay, that's it. And this is a lap, a walk on Misano circuit. Alright, so hopefully you like that, and ask me anything. It's AMA time, so let me know what you think about it, let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, I'm here for you. Let's go back to the garage. Maybe we can do a couple of laps afterwards and see if we can set 34 or something. That is a lazy dev t-shirt, yeah. That's me. Can any of those big curbs make puncture? The sausages, no. Actually, it never happens in reality as well. What it does happen is that if your tire pressures are getting lower and lower, and you go over those big curbs, then they will start move a lot on the sidewalls, and at some instances they get such a big hit on the sidewalls that they release a little bit of air outside, and the pressures go even lower. And the lower they get the pressures, the more the sidewalls move, and you lose even more pressure like that, and that, you know, becomes a vice cycle and gets worse and worse and worse, and at some point you're gonna get a puncture. So if you want to attack the curbs, you really need to have your pressures correct. If your pressures are too low, and some teams were using way too low pressures at some point, and they had punctures. Go back into 2019, 2018, and you'll see how some cars got a lot of punctures in at Misano because of that thing. This is why also Pirelli told us, you know what, we give teams rules to follow in tire pressures, and they don't. Please make sure that the pressures, get their maximum grip at the correct tire pressures. We did almost this, and at 2020, Pirelli also make rules to make sure that the teams do not abuse the tires with extreme camber and very, very low pressure. So yeah, that's what's going on. Hello, Alice Nokar and Steve Huggs. Thanks so much for following the stream. Yeah. I mean, low pressures. Modern tires seems to go better and better with low pressures, but obviously, if you do that, you're gonna get problems. So, yeah. We want the football. All right. Yeah, I don't like football. Hey, Camille. Nice to. Hopefully, I can help you get even better on that. Italy just won. Yeah, guys. I don't follow football so much. I mean, at least there are national teams, which is better. So, hooray for that. But yeah, whatever. What changes to your dear Bentley with the latest patch? Nothing really. Maybe we had a very, very slightly buff, like nothing in some tracks that it goes faster. I think it's written in the changelog, but other than that, I mean, practically nothing. I mean, if you have a track that the Bentley was, faster by 2/10, now it's on par. So. What is the EM? Buffed means slower. Sorry, buffed means faster. Sorry, my bad. Nerf. We nerfed it on some tracks that it goes faster. Nerf means slower. My favorite car to drive casually. I don't know. It changes every time. GT4 usually. I enjoy the Ginetta sometimes. Sometimes I enjoyed a lot the Aston Martin. I mean, you see, every time I pick one, and I like the cars for what they are. I don't really like the X-Bow, to be honest. I don't really get into connection with that. I don't, even though I like it a lot, I don't get into good connection with the McLaren. That's my driving style, probably. But if I have to, I will do it. The engine doesn't overheat if it's idles too long. It is something I would like to do. It's not big deal, obviously, for the rest of the simulation, but I would like to do that. Unfortunately, we haven't found the time to do it yet. It is there. We have some sort of simulation of that, but we need to make it a little bit better and put the correct values so that it happens. With the GT4 cars, from which pressure is a danger over for a puncture? Well, as I said, if you are under 26.5, 26 psi, you will going to start losing pressure, and the more pressure you lose, the more danger you have on the puncture. It's not scripted. It's not like, oh, I'm at, I don't know, 22 psi, 21 psi, I will hit a curb and the puncture will happen instantly. It's not like that. It's all dynamic and physically based, which means that if you have low pressure and you hit a curb in a specific way very hard, then you have high probabilities to get a puncture. But that might happen even in medium pressures, or you might have a very, very low pressure and hit a curb nicely and nothing will happen. So it all depends how much the sidewalls will move and let the pressure go out. The AMG GT3 Evo at the Nürburgring has -4 camera at the front. I'll have a look at that. Yeah, thank you so much. What exactly has changed with the Porsche Aero? Yeah, it only gains a super high speed. Exactly. I cannot tell you more. Orders from above, but it's the car couldn't gain any more, engine power, except a little bit with the rammer simulation. They have made great improvements on the rammer on the Porsche engine. It practically turbocharges itself at very high speeds, going into resonance with the intake and everything. All that's simulated. But it's a 4-liter normally aspirated. It cannot really do 600 horsepower, and obviously it is restricted up to a point. And so you are asking, you're getting information, you get telemetry, and you see some stuff that they won't tell you, but it can only happen if something wired is going on the aero. The extremely high speeds where the downforce pushes a lot, the wing down, let's say. But yeah, it gained 2-3 kilometers per hour top speed at very high top speed. So if you have a circuit like Misano, which you go up to 255 kilometers, nothing will change. Not in the acceleration, nothing. If you go up to 270 or 280, then you might gain, a couple of kilometers per hour. We are investigating even more. European Championship. All right, cool. Is it possible to kill the gearbox in the game? No, not really. With those cars, they are probably bulletproof. I mean, yes, you can say that the Porsche won the Spa 24 hours with bad gearbox, but it's more unique than rare. It doesn't really happen that much. Alessandro, penso proprio di sì. So, diciamo, buone speranze. Tire wear degradation, delamination is best in the sims. Can see the best pro drivers help make this. Thank you so much, Seru Zitis. Thank you so much. We are trying our best, I mean, I'm the first to say that our damage system, in terms of body damage, is not the best there is out there by far. But in terms of mechanical and tire damage, I think we're the best. The tire damage is pretty well done. Did I lose any? Pierre Mono says, hello, usually it would be recommended to keep the rear bump stop gap as high as possible for maximum compliance. Yet the Porsche on some tracks goes quicker with shorter gap. Any idea why? As you said, it is recommended. It doesn't mean that it is always the best solution. There are many cars that can benefit if you use some bump stop at the rear, right? It doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it works less well. You really need to nail it properly. So it's recommended, and it is easier to not use bump stop at the rear. That doesn't mean that you cannot find some performance if you use it, but you really have to know how to use it, and your driving style has to accommodate that. So yeah, and obviously real life too as well. To give you an idea, there are some engineers in the paddock of GT3 Championship. A couple of them, they are called the bump stop masters. And when I was searching information about the bump stop, a couple of other engineers and teams told me, go there, go to that team, ask for that guy. He's the bump stop master. He will tell you all you need to know. I went there, I asked them, they told me some things, but obviously they didn't tell me all I needed to know, because they are the masters, secrets of the job and so on. But you're getting there. Yes, FEVB says that he notices that some people manage to kill their engines on Mount Panorama. Is it because of losing weight on the wheels while going over skyline and downshifting? Yes, and especially while downshifting like animals, let me say. So they're really abusing the downshift, and obviously at some point, when you're jumping, okay, what happens is obviously the EQ of the car says, okay, if I downshift now, the speed that the wheels have and the engine speed means that if I downshift, the engine will over rev, so I don't let you downshift. But when you are jumping while braking, at some point the rear tires will slide and I won't say stop, but they will slow down more, and the revs of the car will slow down more, and so you can downshift and the gear change will go, will happen, and then the car will go down and get grip again, and the tires will start spinning, but they're spinning faster than they should, and you over rev just by a little bit, because obviously the EQ tries to understand and not do that even when you are flying. But if you're abusing it for 12 hours or 24 hours, shit might happen. Daz says, why series restrict tire width for rear engine cars? What would happen if they free the tire restrictions? They do not restrict the rear tires. The rear tires are the same as the front engine cars. You probably think why they restrict the front tires, maybe. If that's what you mean, they do not restrict that. You need smaller front tires on rear engine cars because at the front you have less weight, and if you put the same tires as the rear ones, they will not heat up, and you're gonna have issues with heating them up and bringing them into temperature. This happens also inside the simulator. So you need smaller tires so that they heat up and go up to temperature and work properly. It's not like you can put the larger tires possible and instantly have more grip. It doesn't work like this, if that's what you mean. The jump. I think K8 says that once they did a jump at the first secant shoulder, and by landing the gearbox was broken. I think you probably broke the suspension, and that obviously when you break the suspension, it can happen. It's very rare, but it can happen, especially with sometimes older versions of Assetto Corsa Competizione. When you break the suspension, then it goes out of the connection with the axle shaft, and you cannot have the engine bringing torque on the wheel. What else do we have here? Yeah, I mean, at Spa, Tortellini says I ran rear bump stop with lowest settings for Spa in 911. Spa is one of the most normal places to run quite a bit of bump stop also at the rear, because you don't go to touch. The curbs are very smooth, so you can go over the curbs even with bump stop without having big issues, and so on. How is it going on my new community server? It's going really well. We have just bought a new server, so please bear with us a little bit so we can, configure it and everything. Andy Mon again is doing a great job, and hopefully by this weekend or next week we're gonna have the new server and races will start again. Alessandro Di Santa, thank you for following, mate. What is my Misano lap record? I don't remember anymore. I did it some time ago. I don't even know if we have the same lap times. It was something like 133 low. I don't remember. Whatever. About the future. No, sorry, Zenius, I'm not doing that stuff. Did you have circuit for Imola? Yes, Mac Friedrichs asks if I have done a circuit walk for Imola already. Absolutely yes. There is a playlist on my YouTube channel. If you go in the YouTube channel and click on the playlist tab, you will find various playlists. Amongst them, there is circuit walks. So just click there and you will find all the circuits that I have done a walkthrough. Motec, how can you find the optimum up and downshift moments? Is there a rule of thumb? Yes, you can find it with Motec, their fila, and as usual, CC driver on top of his of his job, and check the link on the YouTube video that I have explained how you can use Motec to find out the correct shift and downshift, upshift and downshift moments. Well, downshift, it's up to your driving style and car and setup, so it's not really a perfect position. Bumps of dampers, car head combo is harder to get completely right. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time, so similar track walk, right? All right. Thanks, GovNet mate. Thanks. All right, so I would say it's still early. It's 11 o'clock. I could do a couple of laps with the Mercedes if you want me, guys. Maybe we can hit a 34 in race setup or something. Fix a little bit the circuit. Tortellini just said something very interesting. Said Misano is such a wired track. I have done my personal best here with sorry, with full race fuel. Well, if you're talking as usual about the Porsche, it happens often, not so often maybe nowadays, but in the old days they would usually do most of their qualifying laps with more fuel. Because more weight at the front means better turn in and less power understeer. But it still happens even nowadays in 2021. Sometimes they will use a little bit more fuel, and that permits the car to rotate better, especially in circuits like Misano, where you have some turns that you get lots of power understeer even with normal cars, so go figure with the Porsche. So yeah, it does happen. Gian Burasca chiede se vedrete le nuove livree anche su console. Assolutamente sì, assolutamente sì. Come al solito un po' di pazienza, ma assolutamente sì. All right, so let's get the aggressive setup, do some laps, fix the pressures, and then work a little bit on the setup and see if we can improve here. Oh, the Porsche is an amazing car, actually. Amazing car. It is strange. It has its own quirks, but that has always been the case. So it is Porsche. Yeah, sure, JR32. I mean, we just finished the walk of the circuit, but while I'm driving, I can tell you again what to look at. As we said, release the brakes, go in, stay, be smooth here on the rotation. Still very cold tires, of course. Second white line, hard on the brakes, second gear, release the brakes, go on the accelerator. Tortellini, yeah, indeed. Well, the new Porsche is a much more modern car, the Evo 1. Look at that, release, oh, so much grip, you see, so much lateral grip. So much so that it started over-rotating the car. Yes, the fuel tank of the Merc is practically on top of the rear wheels. So let's go to the left, 50 meters. See, first one, not the second one. Cut here, watch out for understeer or oversteer. So much torque with this car. Very easy to start spinning the rear tires. Hello, Mopar. Don't let it over rotate too much. Tires are still a little bit cold. Let's do 3 laps. Flat out this and watch out. Release, go even on the accelerator, look at that. Oh, there you have it. Too much rotation here, my bad. The sun is also so low that I cannot see very well what I'm doing. Oof. Have some over rotation here. I went down to second gear, that's why. I shouldn't. You see? Too much. Pressure are still low, so have to fix them. Sì, Marco. There's lots of time that I can gain. All right, let's fix the pressures because they are all around the place. So let's go over here. And we need a little at least 3 here, and another. That seems to be okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe a little bit of extra camber at the rear. And how's the mechanical grip? Well, typical. Okay, maybe I can lower a little bit. I'm not so confident on my driving style right now because I haven't done lots of practice into this current track. So maybe I could lower a little bit the bump stop and possibly gain a little bit of, stability. How do we do? Camille says, how come I can't downshift as fast as I do in the Bentley? Is it because I'm doing something wrong or because limiters that protects the gearbox? Well, the limiter always protects the gearbox. If you want to downshift fast, start braking and then start downshifting. One of the most usual errors that young drivers are doing is they go on the brake and instantly start downshifting, trying at least to downshift as hard as possible. If you do that, the revs don't have time to go down, and then obviously the ECU will say, oh no, wait a minute, you cannot downshift because you're going to over rev the engine. So it hits up the protector and doesn't let you downshift. So if you want to downshift fast, stomp on the brakes, wait 1, 2, listen to the engine going down. You are not losing time. Listen to the engine going down in revs and then start downshifting, and you will see that you will be able to downshift very, very fast. All right? Hello. Hello, Nixus. Hello, everybody. What else? Well, you can. Andrea Martinez says, would be nice to carry over the setups to other tracks. Some of the settings are common in most tracks. Yeah, well, you can do that. All you need to do is rename the setup, open it with a text editor, change a line inside, and that's it mainly, and it works in any circuit. So maybe I will show you afterwards. Remind me at the end of the stream. Yeah, possibly we should run lots of rear wing over here. That would be probably a good idea. Let's go up to 8. I don't know why we are so low here. I don't remember. I think I have an idea of why. It was based on the real, if I remember, on the real setup of the Mercedes. But there was a situation where they had already quite a bit of downforce and they needed, but it was the older car. And it was heavy, I think, because of a lot of ballast. Anyway, I don't remember exactly what was the explanation. Anyway, so we could use more of that. Doing too many things all together, not good. Anyway. Let's go up for a lap. Whoa. Oh, you see? Okay. Cold tires. It's so much torque, this car. Just so much. Unfortunately, you have to start over. Those two accounts are not connected. I'm sorry. Yeah, you see that curve over there? Very bad line here. Well, you know, as we said, Tortellini says he was using very soft springs, but now he's starting using harder. Well, the stiffer the springs, the more aero balance stability you get, because the car doesn't pitch so much. So it's not like because it's swifter, you know, you're gonna have always more oversteer. It might work much better than whatever you have before. I mean, there is a reason why those cars really like to be so stiff on the suspension. Yeah, they will make the rear more stable in entry. See how it jumped over there at the exit? Pressure are still down, but maybe I went on the curves way too much. Release it and go on the accelerator. The car is more stable now. Oh, we're down to 35 lows, that's good. Getting better. That sun over there doesn't let me cut the turn. I cannot see where I'm going. Okay, the car gets better. 34.9. Let's check a little bit the pressures. I don't really like them. I don't know why they are so low, but let's go up 2 and up 3. What kind of tire consume we're getting? Oh, pretty well. Not bad. I mean, Drive, I know you block him already, but can you completely, you know, ban Tatsu because it doesn't really understands how he has to behave socially with people? I mean, it just talks alone. Yeah, thank you so much, Sisi. Thank you so much. Oh, the temperature went down? Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I'll take care of him. Never remove. Hide user on the channel. Goodbye. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, what can you do? Yeah, I will try lower brake balance right now. Because as you can see, I end up dragging the brakes while going in. Καλώς τον Θάνο. Καλησπέρα. Okay, so let's go down to like 61.5, maybe something like that, 61.6, and see. RPM limiters. RPM limiters, real life. No, well, you need to understand, Tortellini, that the the speed indicator in Assetto Corsa Competizione, being a game, is extremely accurate. Extremely accurate. The speed indicator in a car is not that much accurate. It will do some rounding errors and it will stay maybe on the same speed. So sometimes they will hit the limiter. Now, we might need a soft limiter on higher gears. That might be the case also. But usually they might also lose a little bit and just stay on that because, you know, you gain a little bit of time instead of changing up. All right, let's do a couple of more laps. Actually, dry too. Maybe those are already used tires. So let's go and get the new ones. Yeah, that's it. Video tutorial on video settings. I just did that at the start of the stream. Actually, I showed my video settings at the very start of the stream. Tortellini asked me, and I did it. So if you go back at the start of the stream, or wait for next week, maybe we can do a too long didn't watch very small video. You can have a look at that. Ah, finally. It's so beautiful. I really like how Simone manages to grab the atmosphere and colors that each track in each country has. So what you see here in Misano, this kind of red, orange colors when the sun is really low, this is exactly how it is in reality. I remember leaving the track really late on Sunday with Kevin, and we went on the seaside to have dinner, and it was exactly like that. Exactly like that. It was the same exact color. And if you go from track to track, you see that, yes, obviously if you go late at night, it's gonna be oranges, but it's not exactly the same. From track to track, Simone managed to capture a little bit of the colors of each country, each track, you know. It's really cool. It shows you the attention of detail of Simone. He's really good at that stuff. And no. Still no. The G-meter thing, which one? don't have a Jimmy. Maybe you need the, you mean the radar on the race. Or maybe you're talking about the Assetto Corsa 1. Ah, the steering, yeah, it's cool. Idomene has worked on that. It helps also when I have to explain things, and when you want to see other drivers doing proper laps. It's the steering angle, yeah. Ciao, Akba. Too much rotation over there. Oh, too fast here. Alright, okay. 34.9. I can do faster, but I cannot do that tonight and keep on doing. But I can save you the setup if you wanna have a go and you know, try it. It's not a big deal, but it is something. So what's that? Misano Merc A22 T22 01. Not really in great form. I'm a little bit tired, so the steering indicator is scaled to the maximum steering input you can put, whichever is the car. So you just go in, and if you turn it, when it stops, it's at 100%. You see, that's it, 100%. Ah, Tortellini, it won't go on for a long time. For much longer. This kind of trick. Don't worry. Andrea says how to transfer a setup to other tracks. All right. Well, all you have to do is go to the setups and I don't know, pick a car, any car. We are the Mercedes, I guess. So this one. We are at Misano. Okay. So you can just copy this into Imola, so to say. All right. And you open it with a text. I think you don't even have to change anything here. Yeah, you don't have to change anything here. That's all. There's nothing, you know. Just copy it into the correct folder. So this time I copied into Imola. So if I exit from here, quit and go into Imola, you will find it to the other track. I thought that you also needed to change something inside the setup, but that's not the case anymore. So you just go to Imola. Bye, Camille. So if you go into the setup, load, and here's your setup. You can load it, and you go in the current setup, you can see 2.8. This is what we were using. 61.6. Yeah, all the things. It's just copied the setup. That's it. Nothing really. I thought you needed also to open it and change something inside the setup, but we don't do that anymore. So it's really simple. So John very well says that the folder structures for setup can also be found in the rest department, which is true. Another thing you can do, if for whatever reason you go into here, you see we don't have a setup for all the tracks into this car, all right? So we have mount parameters, network on Zandvoort. All right, so let's go back, quit, and you want to change the setup for Zolder, and you don't know exactly what is the name of the track, you know. So let's say that you want to go into Spa Francorchamps and you don't know if you have to put a dash or an underline or whatever. So go to Spa, confirm, start. Okay, all you have to do is go into this. Setup screen. Choose whatever setup you want. Save. Okay, put any name, so I don't know, test, save, that's it. Now if you go back here and refresh the folder, setups, Mercedes, here it is, Spa. So it just saved and created the folder from scratch. So if you really don't know how to name your folder, just go into the track, save a fake setup, you know, the safe or the aggressive, and you will find your folder ready, and you can copy the new setup in here like that. You don't even have to go out from the game. So load, and here it is, our setup instantly. It's that easy. So what else? Next, one more question. It looks like soft lock doesn't work to me. No, soft lock it works only if you put the correct wheel angle. We tend to not implement soft lock because with some wheels it really gives big notches and it's not so safe, or it might, you know, break some, I don't know. So we don't do it. But if you want to do so, if you go into the steering wheel and put the exact angle that the steering wheel does, then it will soft lock at the exact input. Kelly, if you're using a PC, you don't have to set rotation. You just set 900 degrees or 100 degrees. You set the same thing also in the options of the game, and that's it. Unfortunately, on consoles, you have to do that. We are activating, and we're, you know, trying to go back to the proper solution. What wheelbase? It's a Direct-Drive 2 from Fanatec. Actually, a prototype. Works very well. If you are on PC, just set it at, you know, 900 degrees on the steering wheel and on the options, and you're set to go with any car. Right, let's go back. Okay, guys. I guess we're gonna call it a night a little bit early if you don't have any other questions for tonight. Yeah, CC driver, it's the same. You can even set it to 700 and 700, and again, it will work properly as long as the actual real car won't go over 700 degrees. .900 on PC works for everybody. There is something that you have done probably on the driver of your steering wheel that doesn't work properly. Check your drivers, make sure you're not on 270 or 180, and you should have. Oh, drink! Tortellini makes the drink a question, so everybody drinks. Thanks, Sissy mate. No, Zach is. I cannot share any info for upcoming updates. Uh, I'm glad to repeat again. Uh, any kind of upcoming updates, releases, DLCs, whatever. It's all stuff nowadays, 2020, 2021, and so on, that you really need to sign a lot of contracts, pay a lot of money, make a lot of people happy, manufacturers, trucks, whatever. Everybody has to agree. And once all those people agree on whatever, which means that you already have to do the work and be ready, then they will give you the green light and you can talk about it. That means that as developers, we have to work in secrecy, create all that stuff. Our licensing department does an amazing job to make everybody happy, sign all the contracts, all the NDAs, pay all the money as usual. We keep on, producing the content and showing to the licensors so that they are happy, and they ask us, as usual, to do small modifications or big modifications depending on whatever they need. Even a sponsor placed badly on a skin will make the manufacturer tell you have to fix that, it's not proper. And when everybody is happy, then and only then the official channels are going to announce it. Sometimes the approval comes so late that they can't even announce it beforehand, and so they will go and say, here you are, surprise for everybody, all the new libraries of 2021 are ready, and they are free for everybody, to give you an example. So this is why me personally, as Aris, even if I am a Kunos developer, I cannot speak for any future developments, for any future DLCs, updates, whatever. All this information will always come from the official channel, like Facebook, forum, website, Twitter, whatever. And if I talk about it, it means that the Kunos Simulazioni company or 505 company has gave me the permission to do so. Otherwise, there's nothing I can do about it. Hey, ciao Flicker Dogs, grazie mille. The Spot Track River, yeah. Thank you so much, Glenn. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So nice of you. Thank you so much for all the support. Yeah, I can tell you guys, as usual, you know us, we always work, and we always work very hard. There is no free time at Kunos, so you can be assured and rest assured that we always work to improve our titles. I can tell you personally, sometimes it's really hard to be in contact with you and not be able to tell you anything about what we're working. Sometimes, amazing things happens and you have to wait for months or years, Sometimes bad things happened and you were that close to announce something, and whatever happened, and they tell you, no, that doesn't work anymore for whatever reason, and you have to abort and you have to just take it and throw it out of the window. And so imagine what would happen if I would tell you we're going to release that in a couple of months, and then shit happens, and the licensor tells you, no, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. There's no agreement. Throw everything out of the window even if you have done almost all the work, And so what is going to happen? You are going to get angry. We are going to get angry. Everybody's going to be to a bad mood. So many times you have to work silently, secretly. You have stuff here, tons of stuff. You cannot show anything, and you cannot talk about it. And that's the life of a developer. Did I answer why the 488 GT3 Evo is 1 second slower than the 488 2016 GT3? What is that about? Can you elaborate a little bit, because it's not. I mean, the 488 Evo is faster than the 488 GT3 before that. Oh, in Assetto Corsa 1. Oh, you mean the bonus? Well, yes, I can tell you why. In Assetto Corsa 1, the GT3 cars, the original GT3 cars, first of all, they don't have any. They have a generic BOP, but they don't have the actual BOP of the GT3 series. They have the generic homologation GT3 BOP, so they don't have as big restrictors. They don't have as big ballast, and so on. They don't have the ride height restrictor as well. They have 3 different tire compounds, soft, medium, hard, which are not even based on the Pirellis, for example. They might ride Pirellis, but they are generic tire compounds. We were not in agreement with the Pirelli, so they are generic. So you can even put, the soft compound and be very, very fast. The new GT3 Evo that we just released, because Ferrari asked to do so for the sport events that they are doing, it is the exact car that it is based on the BOP of the GT3 series, with just 1 compound, more weight, and so on. So because of that, as a matter of fact, it is slower. Okay, that doesn't mean that the car is actually slower, but the BOP, the tire selection, and so on makes it slower. So that's why it is what it is. Squizzo, sono molto attento. Squizzo, già oggi ho visto una cosa, ho detto oh no no, e poi ho detto ah no, ok. Yeah, unfortunately, also, I mean, keep in mind the SC1 title is, at least it cannot, some of the data are based on the actual Assetto Corsa Competizione, but they cannot even work as well as they do in the Assetto Corsa Competizione, because the Assetto Corsa 1 physics engine doesn't have all the novelties and new stuff that Assetto Corsa Competizione has. So there is some compromise there, some things we can do, some other things we cannot. I just said why I cannot say nothing about future releases. Man, I just talk about it. Hello, Eric Jen. Oof, thirsty. Lots of heat today. I enjoy sitting with you guys. If you have any questions, I can sit another 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Hiccup. Set up Ferrari Evo a Misano. So Flicker Dogs asks if I have anything to tell about the Ferrari Evo at Misano. You might need to not go as low as possible, because the Ferrari has a pretty low ride height at the rear to be stable. But you might want to raise the car a couple of millimeters higher, because then you have issues being aggressive over the curbs, like T1, T2, 3, 4, 5, 6, T6. You might touch the ground pretty heavily over there. Obviously, with the Evo, you really need to work quite a bit with the traction control levels. The Evo needs a little bit higher traction control levels than the normal one, because the engine is so angry and aggressive that you need higher traction control. Maybe staying on traction control 3 is not enough, especially on the exits of the hairpins at Misano. So maybe you want to try 4.4, or maybe 3.4, or maybe 3.5, or maybe 5.5. I don't know. Do a little bit of work with that. Other than that, what I can tell you. You could go stiffer than you think with the Evo on the springs. Yeah, pretty much that for what keeps in mind right now. I have a Miata, yeah, modified, a little bit modified. It's I mean, except if you do your Miata, if you make it turbo, it's not like it's gonna gain any power at all. But it is modified in a way that it gives me more excitement, driving experience, instead of pure, power and speed. So it has a short gearbox, short ratios gearbox. So I'm always there changing, gears, clank, 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 bam, 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 like almost like a motorcycle. It has a little bit of tuning and tricks on the camshafts, so that it seems a little bit more like a VTEC. It gets higher revs. It doesn't have so much torque. It didn't even have, starting with, much torque at the low revs, but now it has even less. But it's more exciting when it goes into the torque from 4,000 RPM up to almost 7,000. What else? Obviously, very, very aggressive setup. Minus 3 degrees at the front and minus 2.5 at the rear. No toe at the front and no toe at the rear. So it's the guy from the alignment said, "Oh, that's very oversteery," and I was, no, it's fine. So it's quite neutral, let's say. What else? Tiny bit of things on the brakes to avoid a little bit of fade. Not that you use that much brakes with that car. That's it mainly. Not a lot of things. Just more of, how to say, as I said, more exciting driving experience than actually out direct speed of the car. The car is slow. It just makes angry noises and seems fast, but it's slow. Well, at the end of the month, I will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, be going back to the Nordschleife for a couple of days and then at Spa. And obviously, I will be driving my Miata again. Maybe I will be able to do a couple of videos again. I would like to improve even more the tire model on ACC, because Samuel Vondi says what I would like to improve most in ACC, but can't do for whatever reason. Well, I would like to improve the tire model, but that would mean I would have to rebalance everything again. So it's going to be really difficult. I would like to do a damage model, but again, this is difficult. Plus, we have licensing issues with that, so you have to know how much you can push and how much not. Brake pads wear faster if they are too cold. Not so much. They do wear faster if they are very hot. Much faster if they are very hot. Cold, not so much. No. We are going to the Spa 24 hours. I will be on the Spa 24 hours at least for 2 days. Maybe I won't be able to be there from Friday, but or Tuesday for sure. But for sure from Saturday on, I will be at Spa. So you guys, if you're planning to go and watch Spa, meet me on our Discord server, and then we can meet on the track. If it's possible to attend the event in Misano, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe yes, but limited number of tickets and people. How does the Ferrari not bottom out on such soft suspension being that low? Well, you always have the dampers. You also have the suspension geometry. The Mercedes, for example, is pretty soft, especially at the front, but it doesn't pitch so much because of the suspension geometry. Has tons and tons of anti-squat and anti-dive. So it depends on so many things. I mean, those things are getting more and more complex as you dig and dive into them. New MX-5 or Alpine? Oh, but I mean, there are completely different cars. Completely. I mean, you cannot even compare them. The price is also quite big. I mean, the Alpine is like 20,000 more than the Miata, than the MX-5. Completely different. The MX-5 is a roadster. You can, take it off the roof and have fun. It's not so hardcore instantly. You need to, build on it as usual with suspension and everything, and then it becomes interesting. The Alpine is much more hardcore, middle engine. It costs a lot. It's a coupe. It's not a roadster. But then again, when you arrive at Alpine money, it is exotic, it is great, it is fantastic. But then again, at very similar money, you go into Cayman and Boxster territory. And yeah, it's wonderful and everything, but the Cayman, it's a Porsche and it is really, really good. Don't listen to the people saying, oh, but it is a four-cylinder. Yeah, it's a flat four. I mean, it's a Boxster, right? It's not even a normal inline four. And everything on that car is ready to track, So share my vector illustration to transmit same information in different languages. Guys, if you really want to do something, make I don't know, you can create, I guess, under titles on my videos or something. Irish flights. The video they only do that, so that's a big disappointment. Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah, I know the manual gearbox is always nice, but you know what? Modern cars accelerate so fast, and so many things happen, and you have so much grip that sometimes it's more fun to have the paddles than the actual manual gearbox. I think manual gearbox it's better for slower cars. It's more enjoyable. I've seen the new GR86. It's amazing. I love that Toyota and Subaru are, pulling out. I would say affordable sports cars. Obviously, they are not affordable because everything costs a lot of money nowadays. But let's say that they are affordable, and certainly they will be affordable second hand in the used market after a while. And the Subaru and the Toyota, they are such an amazing driving experience. Yeah, I know everybody would say, oh, but they are slow. No, they are not slow. You are slow. Push them on the limit. You can drift them for hours and hours. You can push them on the limit. They are amazing cars. You have all those people, saying, but it's slow, the Miata is slow. No, you are slow. You're just used to, go as fast as you can on the straight line. And at the first turn, I can see all those people, breaking down and going like, I don't know, grandmothers and grandpas on the turn. So get a momentum car and learn to drive. It's the best experience you can have, and you can see what is happening on the Nürburgring. Now, if you're one of those guys that you are lapping on the Nürburgring or on other tracks, and you have very fast cars and you're pushing them to the limit, then hats off to you. I know you are out there. There are people like this. That's fine. But I've seen those people that they really know how to drive, and they are the first to say that those slow cars are not slow and they are really greatly enjoying them, even if they are so much slower than their actual hypercars and supercars. Because, it's all about balance. It's all about managing to put a car on the limit and playing with the available grip. All the rest is, how much fast you go from 0 to 200 is bullshit. Um, yeah, everywhere the taxes. What? Sorry. You've managed to do driver swaps in the console. I mean, the communities are always amazing, guys. I mean, congrats to you. Really cool. Really amazing. Somebody says a Miata or a GT86 is slow, put them on the passenger seat for one with racing drivers, semi-slicks. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Dario, thank you so much for the follow. I mean, what you need is a car with great balance. If the car has great balance, then the fun starts. And then there is a thing that, in my opinion, kills modern cars, and that is, emissions and fuel consumption and stuff like that, because obviously they need to put long gear ratios on the cars to satisfy emissions and fuel consumptions and things like this. And long gear ratios, they might even be, efficient also on the track, but I hate them. They suck out the excitement of driving, either with manual or with paddles. It's the same. I mean, one thing I love on my Miata is slow as hell, because it really is slow, but to go from, I don't know, stop to 100, I'm gonna change 5 gears now, like that, goes noises up, and you working like crazy, and you think you're going like, stupidly fast. And then people look at you and you're still stopped, you're still at the same point, and they're like, what are you screaming about? But it's so fun, it's fun. You keep on, even when you have to downshift, you downshift 2 gears or 3 gears instead of 1, It's great. Yeah, John Smith says exactly the problem. The real question is GT86 or deposit on a flat house, That's the problem. Unfortunately, prices have gone up into everything in life, and payments have not go up for most of the people in life. So that's a problem. Uh, So Carl Posey says, do I have advice for the bump stop rate? As a general rule, should you increase it when you lower the bump stop rates or lower it? Well, as a rule of thumb, I would say when you lower the bump stop rates, decrease the bump stop rate. Because obviously, the lower the bump stop range, okay, so it's closer to the suspension travel, it's going to get much stiffer as the suspension goes up. So you don't want to have such stiff bump stop, because obviously you're going to lose some grip at that end where the suspension touches the bump stop. So you lower the rate, you lower the range, and you also lower the rate. Rule of thumb, let's say. Psycho Baldi says, so you're not going to be a fan of electric cars. Actually, I'm a great fan of electric cars. People always get surprised by that. Here's how I see it. I love machines. And I love machines that have 4 wheels, and possibly they can slide on the 4 wheels. I don't care how those machines work and what is pushing those machines, to be honest. Okay? And to put it even into a further perspective, everybody was going crazy and loving the diesels on our engine, on our cars, and we even have some sporting diesel cars. And this is the most terrible thing. I mean, they make awful noises, they have smoke, they have terrible smell, everything. They have vibrations. Everything is wrong about diesels. And yet everybody was like, "Ooh, yeah, turbo diesel, lots of torque, it goes fast, broom, broom." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" All right. So I hate diesels, and now you have electric cars. Infancy, they still have problems. They are more about, commuter cars or just straight line speed. But they are amazing. The efficiency is amazing. The way they accelerate is amazing. The way they can control wheel speed is out of this world. I'll tell you this, guys. The normal cars are already dead. You just don't know it yet. It's how the iPhone appeared, and then the Android, and all the other phone manufacturers died. Nokia couldn't believe that the iPhone could exist with just a big, screen. The same for the Androids that came after it. So they couldn't believe it. They were just saying, and even the BlueBerry, that, oh, you need, the keyboard, the small keyboard. They were dead, and they didn't know it yet. This is the same with electric cars. All the other cars will be dead in, 20 years, 50 years, I don't care. They just don't know it, because the efficiency and the way to do things is so much better. We still have, in terms of engineering, to solve the battery problems. The charging problems is a big issue, but that's it. That's it mainly, and it will happen. It will happen. So I don't get why people hate. Actually, I know why you hate the electric, because the whole special, media about cars obviously they are under big lobbies from the manufacturers, and they have to stop the electric revolution, and the oil companies have to stop the electric revolution. So they will gladly support any kind of articles and news about how the electric cars are so bad. And you see one electric car maybe go up into flames, and oh my god, the scandal. And then you see an F40 go up into flames, and it's one of the thousands that have, one of the tenths that have burned up into flames, or other Ferraris, and everybody's like, oh, poor boy. So yeah, so this is what is happening right now. Again, I won't go into the politics so much. I won't go into the ecology so much. I have my views. You can, think whatever you want. We can analyze that if you want, maybe on the Discord channel. The only thing that you should think about is the damn thing goes. It has 4 wheels. It's a machine. It can slide. That's it. That's all you need to do. And what you need is a manufacturer that is able to make a proper electric car that has neutral handling and so on. Tesla seems to getting closer, but they are not that there yet. They are more focused on being as fast as possible in the straights. That's fine, no problems. Many cars were doing that with normal engines anyway. Porsche tried with the Taycan, not bad, and then you had the Audi with the e-tron, which is better than all of them in terms of handling. The latest e-tron in terms of handling is amazing. The problem is that the cars are a little bit heavy. They are about 2 tons. But then again, you have, the media saying, oh, how good and how reactive and agile the latest SUV from Bentley, or from, Rolls-Royce, or from Audi, or from Porsche is. And you have those dinosaurs of 2 tons, over 2 tons, center of gravity up in the sky, and 22 inches wheels trying to make the turns, and everybody's laying, ooh, this is amazing, you will be surprised how much grip those cars have. Fuck you. Sorry about that, but that's the main thing, all right? So I don't care really if it's electric, if it is normal petrol, if it is hydrogen, whatever. As long as they do an interesting to drive car, I'm more than happy. Because you want to know what is going to happen? We are so many on this planet that very soon there will be no space to have personal cars. You will have an autonomous vehicle that probably you will have, your device, pad, phone, whatever, and you will say, I'm at home, come and get me. It will park outside your door. It will get you. You will put on the navigator where you want to go. It will go there while you will still be, going into the socials or whatever shit you want to do in your life. And it will park out of your office or restaurant or whatever. You step down and then it goes away, goes somewhere to park itself and charge autonomously, and you don't have any car anymore. The only cars that will remain after, and I kid you not, you might think all this is science fiction, but let's see, we'll be here after 20 years what it's going to happen, all right? We'll be here. Let me know after 20, 30 years if I'm crazy or not. And the only cars that probably will have, hopefully, I hope, is going to be recreational vehicles, as you have now with horses, for example. Nobody uses horses to go to work, but there are people that love horses and they use them for recreation and entertainment. So hopefully, luckily, and you can see that in strategies, marketing strategies, and business strategies like one of Porsche, which Porsche keeps on buying circuits all around the globe, smaller circuits, and they are Porsche circuits. They just bought one we have here at Brescia at Franciacorta, and my opinion is that they are going to use those circuits to not sell cars anymore, but to sell services. Probably you pay Porsche, you go into a circuit, and they give you, I think they already do that at Los Angeles in USA, they will give you a menu of 4 or 5 cars, depending on what kind of level of payment you do, and you will have a whole weekend to enjoy your cars on the circuit or whatever you want, or maybe some trips on the mountain roads around the circuit. We'll see in 30 years what is going to happen. Kalam is already a Porsche circuit, yeah, so there you have it. We can talk again about hardware all you want. Have a look and inform yourself how much costly it is and not efficient to produce hydrogen. They might solve it out, who knows? Fine, I don't have a problem. Four wheels sliding around, that's all I need, whatever the engine is. Four wheels sliding around, that's the answer to all our problems. And if they don't let us do any of that, we will still have simulators. It won't be the perfect solution, but it will be good enough. And if you don't have to buy a car, you can buy a full motion rig simulator with big screens and VR and whatever you want. Yay! Yeah, I mean, racing is a completely different thing, so who knows? Why not? Again, I'm telling you, it's recreational, so why not? Yes, totally. Initial D was right about four-wheel drift. Well, the thing is mainly that however you want to turn it around, the internal combustion engine is extremely inefficient in comparison with an electric engine. Trains actually prove that. So an electric engine has an efficiency of around 97-98%. So you put energy in and you get out 98, 97, 96, whatever percent of the same energy. All right? An internal combustion engine, however you want to feed it, I don't know, you get out at most 50%, maybe 55, I don't know, but you really have to do miracles. So it's not like 5% difference, which would be already a big deal. It's 50%, it's 40% difference. It's the difference in efficiency. It's so massive. There is no comparison at all. It's unbelievable how efficient an electric engine is, and on top of that, it's unbelievable how much control you can have on an electric engine, and on top of that, it's how much torque, constant, and power you can have from an electric engine. So I don't know if you have seen the latest Tesla Model S Plaid acceleration videos that they start showing up on YouTube. The car is over 2 tons and it has around 1000 horsepower, but it accelerates faster than I don't know, the McLaren 675 LT, which was the, you know, the or the Ferrari SF90, which has 1000 horsepower as well and weighs 1.6, 1.7 tons. So it's like 3 to 4 to 500 kilos lighter. How can they do that? Well, they can do it because 2 reasons. First of all, the Ferrari, for example, gives you 1000 horsepower at the rev limiter, right? But every time you switch gear and you go down to the rev limiter, you start again from 700 horsepower, 800, 900, 1000, switch gear, 700, 800, 900, and so on. And then obviously you have to control the wheel spin initially, and to control the wheel spin on an ICE engine, so an internal combustion engine, you can do it in pulses because you have cylinders and you need to cut out some cylinders to not give all the power. Some others do it. There is some, you know, dead time that the cylinders do not produce power, and so on and so on. So you cannot really cut extremely precisely the power as you want. So there are always going to be some extra slip or some less than perfect slip. On an electric engine, the 1000 horsepower starts from almost instantly while you start up to top speed. It's like a flat curve, and it's like pull, and it always pulls in the same way. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you go into the YouTube videos, you're going to see 60 to 100, I think, miles, and 100 to 160 miles, and the acceleration times are the same. 4 seconds. It's constant. The acceleration it's the same. It's identical. And you can also control extremely well the output of the electric engine so that the tires do not spin more or less than what you want. You want this kind of slip ratio, you want this kind of spinning to have the perfect acceleration. You can achieve it with an electric engine. So it's unbelievably good and efficient. Then there is also something extra. The weight of the car is always the same, and it also has lower, center of gravity. The weight of internal combustion engine depends how much fuel we have, and on the hypercars the fuel can be 100 liters, which is almost 75, 80 kilos. It's not something to not consider. So yeah, many things play that normally, because it's a new technology, many people do not think about it. And I've seen Randy Pops, you should know him, pretty great and positive energy guy, and racing driver and instructor, and also journalist. He made last weekend, I think, the Pikes Peak race with the new Model S Plaid. Oh boy, does this thing goes up high enough. Anyway, all of that to tell you that, honestly, I don't care. I don't like all this war that's going on against, the electric car. I do believe that it is sponsored and lobbied by the usual manufacturers and oil, industry. We've been always complaining about oil industry, its tactics, its prices, and everything for decades. Nowadays, oil industry tells us that electricity is wrong, and everybody says, "Oh yes, they're right, absolutely right." And this is something that I really find ridiculous and funny, and I just don't endorse at all. And main thing is that 4 wheels, sliding, it's a machine. I love it. I don't care about the rest. Yeah, an electric manual car would be like, I would like that too. I know it won't be efficient, but if they have to do something recreational, why not? I would love to have that. Anyway, guys, it's 30 minutes past midnight. I hope you had fun. As always, I mean, you can see that we've been here 1 hour talking. I always enjoy talking to you and replying to your questions. It's really cool for me. It will it gets me calmed down from the work and everything. So I loved it. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for all your questions. Really love them. Catch you up at the next live stream, hopefully very, very soon. So thanks again for joining. Next time. Cheers. Bye.